call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Chairman Louis A. Trujillo.
Here.
Commissioner David Ubiña Jr. Commissioner Michael Montoya.
Present.
Commissioner David Romero.
Here.
Commissioner Elaine Rodriguez.
Present.
Thank you, Chairman. We have four.
Thank you. Mr. Oliva, he called. He said he's on his way. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to just take a moment of silence. I'd like to keep in mind all the people who are in healthcare and first responders, all the people who are vital to the community, people who deliver food and groceries, people who check us out at the grocery stores, all those important people who are working so hard during this pandemic. And I just ask that the Lord keep us all safe and healthy, and that this virus go away as quickly as possible, or that they bring the vaccine to us soon. Amen.
Thank you, Chairman. The next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion for approval of agenda as presented.
Mr. Romero has a motion on the floor to approve the agenda. Second.
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Second by Mr. Montoya. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
Yes.
Commissioner Montoya.
Yes.
Commissioner Romero.
Yes.
A motion by Commissioner Romero, a second by Commissioner Montoya. Thank you, Chairman. Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from September the 16th, 2020.
Yeah, make a motion to approve the minutes.
So motion to approve the agenda, the minutes.
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Second, Mr. Montoya, second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Montoya.
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
Yes.
Commissioner Romero.
Yes.
I have a motion by Commissioner Romero, a second by Commissioner Montoya. Thank you, Chairman. Motion carries.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the presentation, the Housing Authority Finance Report.
Was there any public input? Okay. Take it away, guys.
Mayor, Commissioners, Chairman, Chairpeople, in front of you, or Commissioners, sorry. In front of you tonight, we have the finance report through September 30th, 2020. 25% of this year has lapsed. For dwelling rent, we're at 25%. We're right along where we had budgeted at $560,000 for the year. For operating subsidy, we're a little bit lower than what we had currently anticipated, with $181,000 and us only receiving $174,000. This has to do with our occupancy back in the end of 2017, beginning of 2018 fiscal year. We had a little bit of trouble occupying units at that time, and we had a few units that hadn't been rehabilitated yet. So that's kind of the reason that we're a little bit lower than what we had anticipated. For other income, like before, we're not charging fees, anything like that right now, any late fees, anything like that, but we are collecting at a steady rate, so that's also very good. And then the transfers the transfer that is being represented there tonight is the transfer that is coming from general fund into housing flow rent for the repayment agreement. As far as expenditures go right now, employee expenses are at 20%, operating expenses at 25%, and for a total of us being at 22% of the full budget. I would just like to add on that note, we haven't billed for any of the employee expenses for Mr. Vaca or myself for the Las Vegas area. So we did do the calculations today, Mr. Vaca and myself did. So we'll be submitting an invoice now that all of the employees are now hired through Northern Regional Housing Authority. We'll be, based off of the management agreement, charging the hourly rate for everybody that is working in the Las Vegas office. And then we came to the conclusion that it's about a third of our time. We're about a third in each of the areas. So it'll be, because it's a rate based off of the hours, it'll be, I think, what did we say, 26 hours of pay period for Mr. Baca and for myself. And the remainder will get paid out of the other funds for the two of us. And for the transfers, instead of going hour by hour and benefits and everything else for the employees, we're just gonna go straight off the management agreement, because at the end, they're still gonna get paid out of the same bank account once the transfer's getting paid, once the transfer's complete.
Okay. Are we paying, I'm sorry, are we paying a full salary for Mr. Baca, or is it?
It's just 26 hours at $75 an hour, because that was what the management agreement had
Okay,
established for.
I couldn't remember.
Yeah, so the management agreement for every other employee except for the executive director is $50 an hour. For the executive director, it's $75 an hour. And with benefits and all of that, regardless of the employees, it kind of nets it out. So, you know, it might have been more expensive for me or for Barbara, and less expensive for somebody who just got hired, you know, that kind of thing. So it just kind of nets itself out if we do the $50 for all of the employees other than Mr. Baca.
Okay. Any questions, concerns, comments?
Oh, no. I'll pass.
Okay. So is there anything in the financial report that we need to be made aware of?
There's nothing right now that needs to be made aware of, except for the fact that we did add in, and it's not accounted for in this report, it's because it's going to be kind of just, it'll probably go into the subsidy line for revenue, and that's going to be the COVID monies that we were awarded. And so the COVID monies will be coming in prior to December, and they are a direct reflection of expenses, so it's a reimbursement grant. Currently, right now, that was what we used to purchase a few vehicles and then some other response stuff, as well as some IT equipment, so that all of our staff could work remotely if need be.
Do you know a total amount of money that will be coming in?
A total amount of money, I think it was $151,362, but that's the number that I'm almost positive it is.
Okay.
And we can use some of that money to pay our expenses under the contract also. That COVID money can be used for any operational expense also, so that's something else we need to.
Okay, good. Thank you. Anything else? I'll go with the next item on the agenda is the Housing Director's monthly report.
All right, and the report is certainly in your packet, and again, obviously, we do appreciate everything that has been going on with the City of Las Vegas and the Northern Regional Housing Authority as far as trying to work through some of the snags we have. We have transferring the employees over. That's kind of been a challenge. The IT part of it, we're working through that as we speak. We did, like Natasha did say, we did purchase new computers and trying to get those online. Natasha's actually been using one of those computers for quite a while. But everybody else will have new laptops in their offices. And we will upgrade new printers. We purchased a printer for her office, and we will purchase new printers for everybody else in their offices. So they all have the same equipment. So that's something we try to do, so everybody has the same cartridges, the same printer, and they can use each other's printer very easily. The maintenance staff, they're doing a great job. We have a couple areas that we had some sewer issues that Mr. Lucero, the maintenance supervisor, is putting together a scope of work to do some sewer line replacement and sidewalk replacement on the sagebrush site. So that's something he's working on as we speak. We did the fencing project with Northeastern Construction here out of Las Vegas. Is about 85% complete. Natasha, myself, and And the general contractor went out and did a site inspection of things that we felt they needed to repair and things they needed to take care of. So we have not gone back to do a final yet, but we will at that time. We did, there's 10 units that, the upcoming 10 units we're going to rehab. The last 10 of the 15 that were abandoned, and we're working towards that also. We did get the repayment agreement has been signed by HUD. We have not received the original back. At that time, when we do get the original back, we will get that to the city for them to keep and to do what they need to do with. I had also, in addition to that, I had a meeting yesterday with the Raton Housing Authority Board of Commissioners yesterday, and that meeting went very well, as they usually do. This morning I had a meeting with the Municipal Mortgage Finance Authority. Did a web meeting with them. I do a quarterly report to them. The regional housing authorities are under the jurisdiction of the Mortgage Finance Authority currently, and we are working towards legislation to remove that layer of bureaucracy. I mean, the answer to HUD. I mean, HUD gives us the money. HUD has all the oversight, so it's just another layer that kind of actually creates a problem, because it's just honestly another board you have to report to. Currently, we're reporting to 4 boards, and it gets a little cumbersome, you know. So that'll be good if they get that legislation passed, and then that, as of January, obviously the National Housing Authority Board and the Las Vegas Council that we report to will no longer be doing that from January. We would, if there's anything that you would like us to attend for the commission meeting, we definitely would welcome that. Just contact us and let us know if there's something that you'd like to talk about personally. Just give me a call, and I'll be glad to talk about it and see if we can address it.
The rehab on those 10 houses, do you know when it's stated to be completed?
So, so we just put out an RFP for a 15-unit rehab, and we didn't get any responses on that. So we're going to be going back to the drawing board and hopefully do a little bit of direct solicitation to a couple of the architects that we worked with in the past to see if they'll be willing to submit some proposals for us for a selection process, so that we can get some architects for those projects themselves. So we're hoping that we can get an architect, hopefully in contract by December, to start that project coming up. They probably won't do any construction until the spring of 2021.
Okay.
And that's with both what we have going on in-house and what we have going on now, so we'll be the same time. We were kind of disappointed. We had two requests for proposals out, one for payroll services and the other for an architect engineer, and we didn't get any response. And that's really unusual. We, especially for architect engineer, generally we, I know in the past I've had them banging on my door wanting to do work, so I don't know what's going on right now. If they're overwhelmed, they might be overwhelmed with work. I know the architect I have under contract in Raton is he's swamped. So there's people doing stuff right now. So, and I'm not sure if that's the case up in this area also.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Olivari?
Mr. Walker, have you, I know I talked to you about the wall.
Yes, sir. And what I was talking, Natasha's been getting all the information together for me on it. There's not really a file as such that has all the documentation, but I know there has been some surveys done and things of that sort. So I do want to dig into that and find out if we are responsible for that wall or not responsible. I know, just talking to Natasha and to Barbara about it, that HUD feels like it's not our responsibility. But I think, one way I do look at it, if it could potentially damage our units up there on the hill, then we do have some responsibility.
That's true, because it's leaning a little more.
Yes, I know, I looked at it.
Eventually it's gonna fall.
It's pretty dangerous, actually,
Yeah.
the way it is.
But anyway, have you met with the landowner, with Mr. Ernest Martinez?
Yes, with the Daylight Donuts.
Yes.
He did call me and I did talk to him.
Yeah, because he was asking me, I told him, I'll ask him and see what.
Yeah, no, he did. I didn't talk to him, and I did let him know that, you know, I'd be digging into it a little more. And I'll be honest with you, we talked about it a little bit today, that we do need to get, I need a little more information on what, you know, historically, what's gone on in the past, and you know, what truly our liability is, because if it's something we didn't build, you know, obviously, we don't have any liability.
Well, if you have a chance to call him and explain, you know, well,
Yeah.
you know.
I'll call him, I will call him, I'll be glad to call him and let him know that, you know, that I
That you're
am.
working on it and.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I do that.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Montoya?
Yeah, I would like to see a request over on Sandoval Street, on the north end of Sandoval Street. There's an alleyway there
Okay.
between, well, the one that goes, that loops around that park. Anyway, I was wondering if all those trees there could be removed. They're just along the fence line.
I can look at it.
They serve no purpose, and I had requested that they be removed when they did the demolition of that house, but they're still there.
You say in the alley is where they're at?
Yes, right on the alleyway, on the fence line,
Okay.
on both sides of the fence and through the fence.
I know that, I know that we do have some issues at the Hot Springs site with the trees, so we may be able to put that into one contract.
Is it, are the roots, like, are the stumps of them, are they in the alley or are they on the street?
They're right along the fence line, on both sides and on the fence, but housing is responsible for half the alley anyway, so, on that side anyway.
Yeah, no, and that's true.
So, yeah, so I'd, you know, I'd like to see if they're of no use to anybody.
Right, well,
But for the guys that
the
are,
Chinese elms, they'll probably be in our sewer lines
yeah,
before we know it. And,
well, that's where people hide.
oh, well, that's not good either. Okay, I'll look at that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioners report?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Romero?
I just had one concern that's kind of been a concern in the community. Is there some type of media campaign that we could put out, advertisement, come out on the radio as far as letting the citizens know that Raton is not, you know, operating, I mean, I know we have the northern,
Right.
you know, but there's the impression that Raton is controlling everything. We have no local control here, and I think, you know, that message needs to be sent out if we can.
We could, yeah, we
We
could
could do
put
it.
something together.
We could put a news,
Yeah, because I don't realize that, you know,
It's a
you know, it's pretty often that we have to let them know, no, you know, all the employees are still the local
Right.
employees. You still take care of everything here at the local office. There is, nothing has really changed except for the governing board. I mean,
Right, and that-
right now, we're still in charge, you know, in overseeing,
That's
but,
concerning to people, and I
Yeah.
understand that. Anytime I've been involved in any kind of a transfer, I mean, that is a
Yeah.
concern. It's a concern for the tenants, it's a concern for the municipality. But, yeah, I don't know, I know in Raton we have an open mic thing, and I think they do something similar to that, across the fence kind of thing. Maybe that's something I can come down in the morning and get on the radio and, you know, explain what we're doing and let them know that, you know.
yeah, nothing's really changed, you know.
Yeah, none of the
It's just-
services, you know,
Exactly.
big services, we hope to get them to improve them.
And then the other comment that I had was regarding, I know Councilor Ulibarri, or Commissioner Ulibarri has been, you know, trying to address that wall, and I have kind of looked into it, and one thing that I was warned about is that we got to be careful not to use federal funds on that wall if it does,
That's right.
and so I guess that's probably, I don't know if that
And
message has
that's our
been sent, but
concern.
it's using the federal funds on property that does not
Yeah.
belong to us.
And that's our concern, that if even, you know, if it is not our wall. And, you know, talking to Mr. Martinez, is that the gentleman owns the daylight homes.
Yes.
When I talked to him, he gave me the impression that the wall was built by the housing authority. Now, that's what he told me, but I'm not, no, we have not been.
We haven't been, we can find the documents of when our buildings were built, but there's nothing that has us building that wall. That's why it's just hard to bend angle, because before it was just, when we built our buildings, it was just.
Because I have
land.
spoken to some federal official, and they just said, you know, you guys better be very careful with that, and I just,
Yeah,
you know, I don't know.
no, and and that's something we're very cautious of. I mean, you know, there's that line, and I know the city of Las Vegas is very sensitive to that line, and, you know, and I am very sensitive to that line, because something that we just thought of.
That's it,
And
Mr. Mayor.
additionally to that note for the wall, we do have our housing field, or our field office at HUD. The engineers there have gotten approval to do day travel. So we have them looking at a couple of our dwelling units up in Grants. And so we have a meeting with them next Tuesday. And so we're gonna suggest that they come down as well to look at that wall. And so if the engineers come down and tell us structurally we need to work with him, that's not saying that if the wall gets replaced, it's all gonna come out of federal funds. That's like if the wall gets replaced, Mr. Martinez may have to,
Like Tony will tackle it or something.
yeah, he may have to pay like a half of it on his side. So that's kind of how we do it on the sites that are, if we have like say our sagebrush, our Sandoval site. If we were to put up a fence, like a neighbor asked for it or a resident asked for it, like a homeowner asked for it, they would have to contribute half of the cost for that fence. Like we can't just pay for the entirety because we have federal funds. They always have to contribute half, and that's been like kind of the rule when you have a scattered site. We only have one, and that's the Sandoval site. And when we put up, we usually don't put up any fences because they're all right next to each other, but if we were two, they'd have to pay half and we would pay half.
And I know in Raton in the past where we have property that joins somebody else, we make sure that that fence is on our
Just
side.
on our side.
On our side of the property line, not actually on the property line because of that reason.
So, oh, and just additionally on that note, I will be working, Scott doesn't know it yet, but I'll be working with him to put together some declarations, some partial releases of declarations of trust. So we will be, and they're ready to sign them as soon as we prepare them and get the legal descriptions and everything on them, and we can get them recorded and we can release those properties to those homeowners. So that's gonna be, as soon as him and I can sit down and work on it, we will. But they want us to prepare them so that the addresses and all of that comes from our county clerk's office, and it's all complete to that extent.
That's a major positive thing to get those declarations of trust released.
Yeah.
Those homeowners have been treated wrong in that whole situation.
Okay, thank you.
Bravo to you guys for doing that, because that really did help them
Thank
and the
you.
community.
Next order of business?
And the next item is the executive commissioner's report. Is anybody else anything for commissioner's report? If not, we have executive session. There's no need for executive session. The next item on the agenda is adjournment.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Romero has a motion on the floor. I'll entertain a second. Second by Dr. Rodriguez. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
Yes.
Commissioner Uribe?
Yes.
Commissioner Montero?
Yes.
Commissioner Romero?
Yes.
I have a motion by Commissioner Romero, second by Commissioner Rodriguez. Thank you, Kevin. Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you for everything, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.